I'm your host, Scott Sanders, and welcome to End of Search. Today we're going to be doing a speedy review or a detailed how-to, because that's what we do here. Today is a how-to, and it is how to take apart and wash and clean your Graco car seat, and also to install it properly. Not this for entertainment purposes only. I am not an instructor or anything like that, but I did take the St. Phillips and Stone Oak in San Antonio, Texas seatbelt installation course from an instructor and heard them. I'm also a trained EMT. Never got a license because blah, 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 long story. Found out I make way more doing what I do now than switching over. Just thought I could save some people's lives. But we're skipping off subject. We're going to show you how to take all this fabric off and wash it, because you know your kids, they have Doritos and Fritos and tacos and burritos just wedged in here, don't they? They get it everywhere. Lollipops, spilled drinks. I'll show you everything from clicking it to your system and also using the seatbelt to run it through and troubleshoot a few problems that most parents have. But stay tuned and we'll show you how to disassemble it to get in that washer. Okay, I have a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old, so this foam is cracked at the top. Don't worry about it. My daughter only uses a booster seat now. But also, I know I'll see that in the comments, this is where it straps in on the back. This is not how you're supposed to do it, but if it's okay with you, again, take everything at your own risk, because this is entertainment purposes only. But I do want you to slide it through there and hook it there so it's easy to take off. Then you have 2 at the bottom, and that is it for the headrest piece. So this literally just slides forward, slides this off, and voila. Like I was saying, this one got broke in the back, but my kids don't use it anymore. My other good car seats for my son. Then there is the red button at the top. So you press that, and it goes up and down. So you just click that red button, and it goes up and down. All right, they have the little red ones for your seatbelt to strap through. But on the back side, you need to take this loop off and take that off. You can see that, so you just bend this seatbelt through it and pull that off. This goes underneath it. You see it run through here, which ends up being the pull strap right here. So when you pull this, that can tighten it or loosen it. You can see that it's going up. So it gets tighter or looser. You take that off, that'll let you take this off the back. So to take this off the back, there's a little Velcro up here at the top, both sides. On the sides down here, it's just a little hook right there, hard to do with the camera. You take that hook off, and there's another one underneath right there that you can see that had that loop on it for the bottom of the seat. Then on the back side, just like the headrest, there's one at the top, one at the bottom, another one at the bottom, one at the top. This is for the seat, this is for the back. So you take the back off, you take the seat off. Pretty fairly easy, and it also will have a little tucked away piece right here that hooks onto that clamp. Or not a clamp, but just the edge. So we'll try to get this off with one hand. All right, let me pause it and take that one clip off. But again, this is for that one, which is the back and the bottom. And then they do have the piece underneath right here. Take that strap off and it will all come off. So as you can see, I disconnected it from that part, so the silver brace bracket comes off, so this comes straight through. It just slides off right there. Pop that through. My other one is, it actually tucks underneath this little housing for it. If that gets that off. The back, there's another strap that I didn't do the Velcro. And on the back side, it will tuck in here. There'll be a little piece of plastic that you have to get out of this groove. So that tucks into this groove. And I will reassemble it in the video. So if you're struggling to put together after you put it through the wash, you'll know. All right. So we got all that part off, and there we go. My kids are chips, McDonald's, Whataburger. Well, good thing they put preservatives in them, because good Lord, that looks well preserved of crumbs and a mess. All right, so we'll clean that off, take it outside, hit it with some Lysol 409, wipe it all down. But all your fabric pieces, these get to go in the laundry. All right, thanks for watching so far. Also, another great tip. They have this bracket kind of stapled into there. Can't really remove it out. This comes out that window. This goes out this window. But it makes it really hard when after you mount this whole thing down to the brackets, if this is the back left seat, it's great because then you can stand outside and you can push this button and loosen it up. That way you can undo it easily, because you're going to put your knee down on this thing and you're going to buckle it. And when you buckle, it's going to be really tight and hard to unstrap. My wife struggles with it, so you need to push this button and do that. But if this is the back right of your car, the right side, you got to lean across this and try to push this button, and she screams bloody murder. So the best way to do it is to take the side that doesn't have the release button, feed it back through here, and then take it and flip it and then feed it back through to where this is on the right side. Now, when you do that, you have to go back through this bracket, because it just helps keep it centered and keeps it in these grooves that are designed for it to do that. Now, I'll pause the video and I'll show you real quick that I can flip it. But also, the rule of thumb also is when the straps that we took out of here go behind the kid's shoulders, they want to go behind the shoulders and they want to tuck down a little bit, only 1 to 2 inches. So when they start getting too big to where this is tucked down by their shoulder blades and not like by the top of their shoulder blades, you can move it up to the next level. So how we took it off is the same thing you're going to do. These plates, you can see them wiggling. They come off a little bit. Let me get some light on it. Yeah, these can come off by removing this bar. You take this off, feed it back through, put these back on, put this bar back in. It just has one little screw right there that holds it in place. So you take that screw off and you can swap that out and raise it as your kid grows. Okay, you can see I fed it through. It's on the bracket. It's through the other side. Now, that is a game changer, because my wife loves it that when she opens the door, that release button is just right there. Makes it really easier for her. When you clean this, you just don't want to use 409 Lysol until your kid's like 5 or older, because when they're young, you don't want to have like irritable skin, give rashes, stuff like that. So you want to clean this normally like Baby Organics or some hand sanitizing wipes that they sell just for kids. And also with the fabric, if you have an infant to 1 year old or 6 months, you want to use what's called Dreft for the fabric detergent, and you don't want to put the styrofoam from the headrest in there. But I use the Dreft a lot because my son had a lot of rashes and it worked great. But if you do have a kid that has sensitive skin, ask your pediatrician or your physician. They'll definitely have other ways to help you with that situation. So also in the EMT class, they would say if your car seat's in a car wreck, what would you do? Well, they always say just to replace it. It's your kid's life. You don't want to jeopardize any part of that. But you can inspect it and actually look for it. So, because what if you got a used car seat? This is how you also would check it. You would look to see if there's any threads that are torn at the double stitching areas where the clamps actually mount to the brackets of the car. If there's nothing wrong with that, you want to check all the moving pieces, so anything that slides up and down. A stress mark to a car seat, it's plastic, so when it stretches out, it'll make like a white scar. It'll look like a big old white spot. And to show you, I clamped it through the headrest and used to set it here on my wife's car, because she has a car. She didn't have an SUV that has the brackets in the back, or trucks, they have the bracket in the back. If you don't have the bracket, you can run it through a headset or a headrest, because then at least it has it. But this, you can see the white mark right there. Hopefully that picks it up. Before it snapped, it would show that white mark. So if you see those white stress marks, you can also clamp it here or here or here, because if you go through the headrest of your seat, you can actually bring it back around and clamp it there, because the headrest normally has 2 poles on the left and right. So if you go in between them, wrap it around. I'll show that in the video also, because it's always to have more points of connections to anchor this down. So here it's assembled again. You can see there's the left hook. On my car, you can see that is the one that is welded to the frame. So that is a really secure fitting for it to click to. Here's the other one. Most of them, you'll see them, they'll always be right there by the buckles. And when you do the buckles, that's how you know it clicks in really, really well. So you would take it, and again, you want it on top. Push it down. You can see how it's locked in. It's gonna be super tight. Now also on trucks, I got a Ford F-150. You pull your cord, and on the back side, you can see that there's a bracket. That's where you want to mount the top clip. So I would take this, feed it through, and then I'm going to clip it to this back hook back here, because then that really mounts that top part. Again, if you don't, you can go through here or around it and then bring it back and click it, as long as you know it's in a safe position, on one of these other side hooks. So also, then I would take this, I'm going to bring it over. But see, this is door side, so I have it right here so I can pull up easily. I'm going to push down, and it's going to click there. But when you do this, this is where they say in the school that this is where most parents do it wrong. You want to put your knee in there. You want to put a whole bunch of weight down, because you only want this chair to wiggle about 1 to 3 inches. 3 inches pushing it. You want it to move like 1 to 2 inches. You don't want it going sideways at all, because in a wreck, this needs to be moving with them as the car seat, and they don't want to have the door popping them and all the other reasons. But you're going to try to sit your knee in there, push this down, clip it, and then you're going to pull on this while you're kind of having your knee smash in the seat. And I'll show you that just so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, so want to feed that through. Push it in. Bring it back, put it to that, make sure it's in. Pull the slack out, shut that down. Pull the rest of the slack out. Then they recommend putting your knee down in it because you really want this part to sit tight. Click it, and then you want to push down as hard as you can and pull on this to make sure that thing's not going anywhere. Now, it is super tight in there, barely wiggling, maybe an inch, maybe two at the most. But that's what they want you to do to really push this into there. Also, if you did, say you don't have that option, which you should, but if you have a really old car, you pull this all the way out. Now listen to it. Hear that? That ticking sound? That means it's locked, which means anytime I'm in a wreck or anything, it's not going to move. If you don't push it all the way out, because this is all the way back in, it should catch if you try to pull it too fast. But this guarantees it all the way out. You hear that locking in? You could run this through there, bring it over, click it into where it needs to be clicked in, which I'll go ahead and click it anyway. Then when you release this, most parents don't put their knee back in. So you want to make sure when you go to release that, you put your knee back in and make sure every inch of this thing gets sucked back up. So see, now it's super tight. So that's where most parents mess up when they're trying to install it. And also, remember, you can flip that, have this car seat on the other side, just swap it in there so that the quick connects be easy to get to. Okay, so this is what an SUV looks like. So that top strap goes through the headset, and you can see that they actually have anchors here for it. They actually have one in the middle, and they have one on the right side. So you can even put a car seat in the middle. But I also, let me have a correction. In the beginning, I said I went to St. Philip's and did their school for installing proper car seats, but it wasn't St. Philip's, it was St. Luke's. But if you're going to put them in the middle, so if you're going to put a car seat in the middle, what they did say do not do in that class is that the middle doesn't have any anchors. So what people think to do is, oh, I have one here and I can use the one over there. They call that piggybacking. It wasn't built for that. It's not designed for that. So you shouldn't be stretching it out to here and stretching it out to there. Do it on your own accord if you feel like you want to or not, because you could strap those two and still pull the seatbelt out and run it through, but you're supposed to use the seatbelt, run it through, put your knee down and pull this all the way out again so it starts locking. That's how they want you to do it. And also, as another thing they said don't do is if you have a lot of stuff in your car, I know it's 2022, but like CDs, VHS, not VHS, anything else. Like I have the bottle back there and this, and they also say the mirror, because when you have a baby facing rear view, you can look in your rear view mirror and have it facing another mirror that's attached to the headrest, and then be able to still see your baby. And when you have a newborn baby in the back, see it as much as possible. It's something that I wasn't going to not do it. But they're all like, if you get in a wreck, anything in the car can come a projectile in the air that can hit your baby at any moment. So you kind of want to be conscious of what you have in there. If you do have a 0 to 6 month old baby or a newborn or up to a year, anything in the car could come loose and start hitting them. So they recommend, if you're going to necessarily have to put that little mirror back there on the headrest so you can look in your rearview mirror and see the baby behind you in the other mirror, get the one that they have aluminum covers. They're not real mirrors, they're not real glass, they just have aluminum cover on the front, and it has 2 straps to mount to the headrest. Because if you just have one, it can still slide up or it can slide off. So make sure it has the 2 straps so it actually goes in between the headrests. That's a great advice one. But yeah, it was really hard for me to be like, I don't not want the mirror in there. I want to see my kid breathing and smiling and all that the entire trip. And I'm pretty sure you are too. Again, I only make these videos just for you. This is for like the people that know nothing about installing car seats or cleaning them up. This isn't for like the major pros. I'm sure I missed a few spots here. Definitely check your state regulations or requirements or the owner's manuals per car seat, because every car seat manufacturer has it a little different from other people. They'll have the exact weight limits and exact height limits and exact age you can stop looking at them or putting them in a car seat or a booster and when to transition them. So double check all that. I'm just trying to help people that never done any of this. If you didn't know anything, well, now you know. So again, rules and regulations change, and they also vary from state to state. In Texas, you're supposed to be at least 8 years old or younger to stay in a car seat. That's even booster seats normally. But also you have to either reach 4 feet 9 inches tall, or you have to be 80 to 100 pounds. So you can't really go to the front seat of a car until you're 12, basically, or reached 80 to 100 pounds. And you have to stay in the back seat until then. But that's Texas. Every other state's going to vary, and they're going to be changing their own regulations. But also in Texas, they say, what's the time to switch your kid from an infant and they're facing rear? Because when you first put them in there, you want to face them the opposite direction. So they're looking to the tailgate or your trunk. That way when they get in a wreck, there's no head snap. But the Graco system, they want to look at your owner's manual, and that'll guide you to which regulations and size and limits you can have. Now, ours was basically to have a thumb rule also. If the kid's head starts getting within a thumb width of the top of the headrest, that's another good time to start switching them, because you don't want their head poking out of the top of the headrest. Normally it's 2 to 3 that kind of happens. It's between about 35 to 45 pounds. When you start reaching 50 pounds, that's when you kind of need to start switching them to a front seat, because the front seat can go taller with them. Every kid grows differently, so it's not like you can just say, oh, it's supposed to wait till they're 3, or oh, not till 2. It mainly depends on their weight and their size. My son grew way faster than my daughter, so at 2, we had to flip him to the front seat because he was already at like 45 pounds, and now he's 3, he's 52, 53 pounds. So yeah, he's already in a regular car seat. But again, it grows with you. Keep the headrest where it's right by their ears, and then check your own regulations and states. Because again, this is for entertainment purposes only. I'm just telling you what I went through, so that way it can hopefully help you. Also, as your kid grows, in the bottom of it, you can see that there's this little 3 slots. That is for where it all clicks together in the quick release. So if you pull this up and you twist it sideways, pull it up and you twist it sideways like that, it'll go through the slot, and that is the part that is down here. So you want to move this forward as they get bigger too. Mine are at 6, so I'm like, yeah, I had to move them all the way forward, otherwise it's too close in there, and boys definitely won't like that one. Okay, so reassembly time. I like to push everything through the front. You can get in these little slots, pull it to the front, pull this back up through the middle, feed this through, and on this side you can see that this is where the band comes from. It sits right here, so that holds that down and goes clamps on the side. So you want to make sure you catch that hook, that clasp, and then you want to make sure on the bottom you still get that cleat back on. Same thing for the other side. All right, as you can see, we got that side in, we got the cleat at the bottom. Remember, on the back side it pokes through. This is the bottom part. Hook both of those, and then you got the back on. Now the back, remember, there's a plastic piece. You want to slide that back in to your little grooves. On here, there's little plastic tabs. Hook that, get the Velcro. Hook that, get the Velcro. Now we still have to feed it through these top slots again, so you can see that there's daylight through it. And we'll feed those right back through. So you just pick it up, push it through one side, and we spin it around. You're going to pull it down, and that's where that metal cleat's going to be. Just make sure it's not twisted. And again, you're going to take left side to left side, right side to right side. It just feeds up to that little bottom part. Okay, so I fed them back through, and on the back side, again, you just put them back on the clamp to where they both touch on left and right side. And I went ahead and hooked these top parts because I had to use 2 hands to reach on the other side and push these little straps through and then rehook them to the cleats. All right, now let's do the top. And then also for this back piece, don't forget to slide that back on the tip, that little pocket, so that they're both on there secure. Then on the back side, feed it through the bottom, cleat it, feed it through the bottom, cleat it through the holes at the top, 2 cleats there. And then voila, you're back in action. Take the little back side, fold it here. You should be able to drop this down easily. And you know there might be something wrong. When you go to test it, you should be able to pull this cord. Well, it's going to lift up on me. You should be able to pull this tightener, and these slide up easy. If those don't slide up there easy and you're really tugging at it, then something's wrong and caught up underneath the bottom part to that silver bracket in the back to here. So you can double check that. That's the assembly. Now it's clean, no more stink. And now you know how to mount it into your frame, into your car, truck, SUV, or also disassemble it to clean it up, because you know your stinkers are always stinking. And remember, luck favors the prepared. So congratulations on having a newborn or a beautiful kid anyway. See you next time.